There was a major incident in Disneyland just yesterday, folks. A hazardous materials scare forced an evacuation in Tomorrowland. We saw ride closures and 8 cast members being sent to the hospital. Let's take a look at it today on That Park Place. Or this from thatparkplace.com. You see here, guests visiting Disneyland Park experienced an unexpected disruption Tuesday after an evacuation was triggered in parts of Tomorrowland following a hazardous materials incident backstage that sickened several cast members and sent them to the hospital. According to multiple reports from inside the park, sections of Tomorrowland were shut down and attractions including Space Mountain were evacuated while emergency crews responded to the situation. Initial reports indicated Anaheim Fire and Rescue responded to Disneyland Resort after a hazardous materials alert. Here's from Scott Gustin. Building materials used by a contractor triggered a reaction backstage at Disneyland. Several cast members were treated on site by paramedics and released, while 5 experiencing dizziness and shortness of breath were taken to local hospitals. So apologies if I said 8 before. I don't know if it is 5. But then Gustin clarified later. Oh, this is why I said 8. Now I remember. I knew 8 was in my head for a reason. He says, update, 8 Disneyland cast members who experienced dizziness and shortness of breath were transported to local hospitals for evaluation. This does not mean they were hospitalized or admitted, only that they were taken for further medical evaluation. I wonder, guys, if Scott Gustin may have gotten a call from the company about the definition of the term hospitalized.
It seems like it to me. I was surprised by that last little line right there, included by Scott Gustin, because multiple people had been reporting on that major news outlets by this point that those cast members had been hospitalized. So I do wonder, to your point, Marvin, if Disney was like, hey, could you clear the air for us when it comes to this particular point? Because I think Disneyland officials know that it didn't exactly look good, the story.
So now, if this is in fact a situation with an outside contractor, that is certainly interesting. Now, Vash, is there like work going on in that particular area right now?
Yeah, nearby you have the you have 4 sections of Main Street, right? And so the nearest construction project to that area right now is going to be that kind of Adventureland North quadrant of Main Street. That whole corner of Main Street is actually being worked on right now. A lot of people were noticing that the original Carnation company sign was actually out there on display when those scrims were down due to the Santa Ana winds and so forth. So there is construction going on specifically around that area, roughly, and in multiple areas of Disneyland Resort. We have multiple attractions going into Disney California Adventure, for example. Disneyland obviously getting that Bluey show. So there's a lot of work taking place right now. But it was quite surprising to see some, I don't know, noxious fumes or whatever emanate right behind the Star Tours attraction, not too far from the In-Between, which is a backstage restaurant for cast members. So it's really, really quite surprising. And we're, I'm hoping obviously that all those people are all right. Haven't had an update on their conditions just yet, but definitely a serious incident for sure that made a lot of headlines, including in major news.
Yeah, so we don't know if anyone was admitted. I feel like if they had been admitted or hospitalized at this point, we would know. So the reports, Erika, from the park indicate that Space Mountain Star Tours, Star Traders gift shop, Space Mountain restrooms, and the upper level of the Star Wars launch bay were all evacuated. Now, what does this tell you as somebody who frequents the parks? Even though this did not impact guests, do you think this is going to stick in the minds of a lot of guests when trying to plan vacations?
No, I don't think so. This is a first for Disney, honestly, for something like this to happen. So it might create a little bit of caution, but not I don't think people are going to change their travel plans or anything. Disney's pretty good about, I think they handled the situation well and as best as they could. And I think people recognize that.
Yeah, absolutely. MJ, would it give you any pause if there was an incident like this, say at Walt Disney World around Tomorrowland?
It would have me on high alert because I can't, especially me, my situation, I can't breathe certain things. It'll mess with me. I would have to look for not shelter, but aid to find a place to, go to that where it's not happening. I don't even know how they handled this situation. I didn't get too deep into the story, but I would definitely be on the lookout for where I can go, where I can get like fresh air or breathe fresh oxygen or something. It's an unfortunate event, and I agree with Erica. They handled it the best way that they could. It's just really, really tough for some individuals that have, certain situations that they cannot breathe. It'll affect them more than the normal person. That's probably what I should say. Yeah.
Right now, Culture Casino, do you think there is any truth to the rumor that this was caused by Disney attempting to replicate your purple potato fertilizer in the back in their back gardens?
I don't think so. Like I said, more than likely this is a combination of cleaning products or something like that. That would be my guess. Spilled cleaning products, you can create a hazard. It causes all the symptoms that you guys are describing with the difficulty breathing, and it'll create nausea. It'll create a lot of things, and people just get very, very sick from that. So that would be my guess if I were going to say that. And because of the nature of the area where this happened, that would have been my guess. And again, I don't think it would dissuade that many people, because this is while it's not the only incident where there's been something unfavorable happening in the parks, it doesn't keep guests away for very long, if at all.
I mean, look, I've smelled many a noxious fume in Walt Disney World over the last year or two, usually from a sewage leak of some sort, or issues underground. Exactly. Or one time I was sitting on the stone benches in Adventureland by Swiss Family Treehouse, and I could smell the bathroom that was literally across like the entire street from where I was sitting on that stone bench. I was just like, man, somebody had a cataclysmic movement there.
And that bathroom's pretty it's right across from the carpets, right? It's gotta be it's over kind of by that little tunnel way that goes from Adventureland into Frontierland. And I'm like, how am I across the walkway? And this smell got out of the bathroom, across the street where there's dozens of people crisscrossing, and got to me. Unbelievable.
Wow, that's quite something right there. I wonder if a sewer line had ruptured not too far from where that was, because that's the only way I can even think of that. That smell hitting you.
Some guy that just had a bad reaction to fajitos at Pecos Bill.
Oh no!
Hey, those things happen, man.
That's a bad day.
Those sauces, those spicy sauces.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
I had speculated similarly to Culture actually initially when I heard the story, because we've heard about multiple instances actually taking place at Walt Disney World not too far in the distant past, where there were some chemical combinations that were made, and unfortunately cast members had to be medically checked out. Given those reactions right there, I believe that happened at the Polynesian, if I'm not mistaken, relatively recently. So this one is a little bit different, because they're really pinpointing construction materials related to a third-party contractor, which I thought was quite the interesting phrasing, at least with this particular instant. We don't quite know exactly what happened. I mean, Disney's being pretty cagey about this, which I found was interesting.
What? Disney?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. So
hasn't admitted that it had a massive ferry boat crash a year ago, a year and a half ago, or something like that. That left 19 people hospitalized. That Disney?
Yeah, that's a very good point, Marvin. I can't believe that incident had slipped my mind. But yes, the same Disney who within, I suppose, an hour of this really making the headlines and really making the headway, they announced a big change at the Experiences Division involving multiple executives. And I was like, that's very interesting timing surrounding all of this. So there's that aspect as well. But I know that Fox and I believe the local affiliate for CBS, when they tried to get word from Disney, they couldn't get the information as much as they would like, and as much as we would like. But this whole thing is thankfully was handled appropriately. They evacuated facilities just as a precaution, and they later reopened those facilities not too long after. So it looks like the situation was mitigated successfully. But still, hopefully those cast members are okay.
Just the Dutchie in the chat goes, it was Marvin with bad BO, but he blames
my
Disney.
Lord.
No, and I responded to that in the chat, and I said, no, if it was me, I wouldn't have minded, because not everyone enjoys their own flavor. Like nobody gets offended by their own smell. But I realized I commented, and it came up as that Park Place saying it. So
I did see that. I go, wait a minute, that Park Place?
I sometimes forget that when I'm logged in here, I'm that Park Place.
I do
too. Something that I wouldn't mind me saying, but I don't want the brand to say.
No, yeah.
This is the official position of that Park Place.
Yes,
is
folks,
that everyone
we only
enjoys
have
their own
high-class
sweat, no matter
stuff
how
on
bad
this
it may
show.
get.
Oh boy.
But seriously though, I mean, like, it sounds like it was a freak accident. It sounds like, it was.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was the fault of whatever this third-party contractor is. I wonder if that will impact contracts going forward for this contractor, if they are deemed to be like at fault, if it was any kind of negligence. But it does not seem like Disney did anything specifically wrong in this situation. It sounds like they handled it pretty well. It sounds like they shut it down. They got people help that needed help, and they got guests out of the path of danger pretty quickly. So, what could have been a bad situation, and what I feel like may have been a bad situation if it happened on the East Coast, did not turn into a bad situation on the West. So kudos to them for their response on that.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.